obviously. That's why it's in this video. And I wish I could read all of these books now, but I just can't, obviously. For the first month ever, I have a set TBR that I really, really, really want to stick to. Honestly, I just have an agenda for Beyond the Black Door, and I need you all to read it. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Today I am super excited to be filming a video as part of a new series that I'm filming especially for Pride Month, where I'm going to be recommending lots and lots of LGBTQ+ books. And in today's video I am going to be recommending asexual books. I am not going to lie to you, the majority of books I'm going to feature in this video are fantasy. I have to say, finding good asexual rep in books is sadly a lot harder than it should be. And I'm going to talk about 8 books today, 4 of which that I have read and 4 of which are on my TBR, and all of which I'm incredibly excited to talk to you about. So the first book that I'm going to talk about, I feel like I have to talk about it first because it literally is one of my all-time favourite books in the world, and it is Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. I read this back in February as part of the Perfectly Queer book club. This book is honestly incredible. It was actually the first book that I've ever read with really prominent asexual representation that you could like fully recognise, and it was fully spoken about, and it was exquisite. This is a standalone fantasy where we are following our main character, Amie, who is coming to terms with her asexuality. And she is a soul walker, and so is her mother. So that basically gives her the power to be able to go into other people's souls. And every single time she does so, it doesn't matter whose soul she walks in, there is always a big black door that calls her name. The one thing that her mother has always told her was to never, ever, under any circumstances, go beyond the black door. So what does Amie do, I wonder? I will never stop pushing this book, I swear. It is just one of my all-time favourites. There's beautiful trans rep in here. There's what they call a soul chart, and it explains sexuality through like the phases of the moon, and it is so beautiful. And this story is incredible. The plot is fantastic. The characters I just absolutely love. The villain is just on another level in this book, let me tell you. Yeah. And if you do want to read a book with literally sublime asexual representation, I highly recommend this book. It is done so well in this book. The next book I'm going to recommend is also a standalone fantasy, and it is This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. Now this one follows our main character Caris, who is asexual, and she is orphaned and she belongs to the scriptorium where they are trying to bring the automatons back to life. And without them, the scriptorium are losing their power, basically, within wars. And Caris finds an automaton in a cave and manages to bring him back to life. And it follows Caris and the automaton, Alex, as they try to bring down the scriptorium. And we've got pirates in this book, one of whom is a non-binary pirate. And it is essentially just an incredible story of found family and hidden secrets, and a quest to bring down the scriptorium. I absolutely loved this book. I found it really easy to read. Like, the writing style was really easy for me, and I flew through this book. At the time that I read it, I was in a reading slump, and it pulled me straight out of that reading slump. The characters are fantastic, the diversity is wonderful, and the asexual representation is done fantastically as well. I was rooting for Caris the whole way through, and I just loved her character in general. It's just a fantastic book, and I highly recommend it. Now, the final one that I've read that I'm going to recommend is Loveless by Alice Oseman. Now, this one is a YA contemporary, having a slight reprieve from the fantasy. You'll be pleased to know if you're not fantasy lovers. So in this book, we're following Georgia Moore as she is also coming to terms with her sexuality. More importantly, being asexual and aromantic. Georgia is going to university with her friends, and she thinks that all she wants is to get a boyfriend, and she questions herself, does she want a girlfriend? She's not sure, and she's sharing a room with Rooney, who on the surface is very open and she knows herself very well. And Georgia is having an internal war about a lot of things. Plot-wise, not a whole lot more than that happens. This is also a story of found family. It's beautiful, the friendships that are made within this book. It's a story of identity and self-acceptance and discovering that true love isn't limited to just romance, and you can also find that in friendships as well, and it's something that is really, really beautiful to read about. This is a book that I definitely wish I'd have had when I was 16 or 17 years old. I absolutely loved it, and I'm really excited to read more of Alice Oseman's work. The next one I'm going to mention is also a young adult contemporary. I don't actually own this one yet, but I'm really, really keen to read it as soon as possible. And it is Let's Talk About Love by Claire Can. So this book follows our main character Alice, and she has planned the perfect summer, absolutely everything that you can dream of. The only thing that is missing is her girlfriend, who dumped her when Alice came out as asexual. She has decided that she is absolutely done with dating. But then Alice meets Takumi, and she cannot stop thinking about the romance feelings that she is getting and that she most definitely did not ask for. Perfect Summer has taken an unexpected turn, and Alice has to decide if she's willing to risk her friendship for a romance or a love that might not be reciprocated and also might not be understood. It sounds like a super cute YA romance, but not a romance at the same time. This is a book that I really, really want to read, and it just sounds amazing. Honestly, I've heard some incredible things about it, so I think it's going to be like the perfect summery read, which I'm hoping to get my hands on very soon. Then I have 3 more fantasy books which are on my TBR that I am so excited to get to. The first one being Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Now, I actually only found out very recently that this is asexual. I don't think it is said in as many words in this book that the character is explicitly asexual, but from the people that I've spoken to and the vibe that they've gotten from the character, it is most definitely an asexual book. I think sometimes in fantasy books, it's hard to categorise sexuality because in the worlds they may be set in, they may not categorise sexuality the same way that we do. But I'm going to read the blurb of this one for you because I actually don't know a whole lot about it. Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognised the same ambition in each other. A shared interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. 10 years later, Victor breaks out of prison, determined to catch up to his old friend, now foe, aided by a young girl with a stunning ability. Meanwhile, Eli is on a mission to eradicate every other superpowered person that he can find, aside from his sidekick, an enigmatic woman with an unbreakable will. Armed with terrible power on both sides, driven by the memory of betrayal and loss, the arch-nemeses have set a course for revenge, but who will be left alive at the end? I have to say, I am super, super excited to pick this one up soon. I absolutely adore V. Schwab. Her writing style is just it for me. Like, I just love it. I've fallen in love with all of the characters in the Darker Shades trilogy. I'm so sad that it's nearly ending, but it makes me super excited that I can then pick up some other work by her, and I think I'm going to start with this duology. So I'm super excited about that. The next one I'd like to speak about is Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. I saw this one on a lot of asexual lists very, very recently, so I just couldn't resist picking it up. I feel like it's more of a gothic horror book than a fantasy. It's suggested for fans of like Stranger Things and V. Schwab, so I've just said I'm a fan of V. Schwab, so I'm very excited for this one. I have a feeling that we have a full cast of queer characters in this book, which I'm super excited to read, but I do know that one of our main characters is asexual. So in this book, we're following 3 girls whose stories all come together on Sawkill Rock. And Sawkill Rock is where kids whisper legends about an insidious monster at parties and campfires. Sawkill Rock is a place where girls have been disappearing for decades, stolen away by a ravenous evil that no one has dared to fight until now. I'm just so excited to get to this one. I think it's going to be super cool, super eerie and chilling and creepy, but like, I love those vibes in a book sometimes. One of the reviews on the back says an atmospheric, gothic flavoured chiller that focuses on the power of female friendship. So I think we've got a lot of my favourite elements in this book, like sisterly bonds, but like female friendship bonds. I love like a good thriller, like a horror gothic thriller, but also like the theme of the monster is like sort of fantasy realism as well. And I wish I could read all of these books now, but I just can't, obviously. And then the final book that I'm going to mention in this video is Beneath the Citadel by Destiny Sawyer. This one actually came up as a prompt in my June TBR, so I'm very pleased that I'm going to be reading it this month. This is described as a heist book perfect for fans of Six of Crows, which intrigues me a lot because a lot of you seem to love Six of Crows. So if you love Six of Crows, here is a recommendation just for you. This, I believe, we follow a whole cast of queer characters. I can see the found family trope making an appearance, which, what more could you want? I really am super excited to read this book. It will definitely feature in my June wrap up because for the first month ever, I have a set TBR that I really want to stick to. So I'm hoping to be able to talk about this one in a lot more detail with you very soon. So those are the 8 books that I wanted to recommend to you in this video. As I said previously, I haven't actually read all of those yet, but the ones that I haven't read, I really desperately do want to read. I've heard amazing things about them and I wouldn't recommend them if I didn't think they were going to be good books. I feel super passionately about elevating queer voices and queer books throughout Pride Month. However, your reading of LGBTQ+ books is not limited to just Pride Month. I encourage you to read these books all year, every year, forever, okay? I wanted to start with this video because I feel like a lot of these books are lesser known, and if you are looking to read some asexuality rep this Pride Month, then here are some fantastic starting points for you. If you have made it this far, let me know down below which of these books takes your fancy the most, and let me know one book that you are definitely going to be reading for Pride Month this year. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel. I do post bookish content regularly. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!